Tuesday, January the 7th. I'm actually a day early on my fishing report, but I've got a lot of information on an event that's coming up on January 17th and 18th at Sportsman Factory Outlet. That'll be a week from this weekend. Now, it's something they've been doing annually each year. It's called a meet and greet the pros. You can get the information by going to Sportsman Factory Outlet's Facebook page, or go to one of our pages, Table Rock Lake Fishing, and it's got a list of everybody that's there, all the vendors that'll be there. There'll be 4 full-time touring pros: Terry Bolton, Stephen Browning, Eric Jackson, and Jeff Sprague. Also, Eric Jackson is I think a gold medalist, kayak champion. And so if you got any questions about kayaks and fishing out of kayaks, he'll be the man to talk to. And I honestly believe it's one of the best shows that come to our area each year. And the reason I say that, along with the touring pros, there's going to be 15 other regional pros from like Lake of the Ozarks, Table Rock, Stockton, Truman Lake. And it's a really hands-on 2 days. You can really get a lot of good information. You can talk to these guys one-on-one, pick their brains about, different situations, different techniques. There's going to be seminars going on Saturday, all day long. Just about all your manufacturers like, Chompers, Big Bites, Jewel Bait Companies, 6 Cents, that all the vendors just about of all the product that they sell will be attending. And this year they're opening it up in the warehouse because it's been growing so much from year to year that it gets too tight in the store itself. So I don't know how they're going to have it set up for sure, but probably the seminars and a lot of the displays on the electronics and stuff will be out in the warehouse. And also on the electronics, you're going to have, whether you run Garmin, Lowrance, or Humminbird, there's going to be factory reps with display units doing hands-on demonstrations on how to get more out of your units. And, I find with a lot of people that I help out guiding when I get in their boats to help them with their electronics, most everybody, all they're needing is the basic setups. Their graphs just aren't set up right. Most of the graphs nowadays will pretty much run on automatic. So you need to get in there with these guys, and they can help you get your units working, effectively. Like I say, it's just really an awesome show. There'll be barbecue, I believe, on Saturday, but it starts on Friday, the 17th, and will run through to the 18th. And I'll be talking more about this next Wednesday as well. But as far as the fishing, I've got to fish a few days since my last report. And, fishing's picking up. We did get into some quality fish on Alabama rig, 4.5, 5-pound fish, but they really seem to be few and far between. Without a doubt, the best bite has still been out there deep. Main Lake, flat gravel points. And, they're not on every point. You got to do a lot of searching. But the key is, it seems like if you find the bait fish, you usually find some fish around them. And the bait fish has also been a key as far as on my Alabama rig fish as well. On the deep fish, I'm mainly throwing a white jigging spoon, 3/4 ounce to 1 ounce, War Eagles, Dixie Jet, Hazy Daisy, Jules, Scuba Spoon. I don't really think it matters too much on the slab spoon because there's not that much action. The other baits I've been throwing is the Rapala, good sharp hooks, ice fishing jig. And one of them is a 7/8 ounce, and I believe this other one is a 5/8 ounce. Usually if I'm throwing a smaller one, I'll throw it on 12-pound line. The bigger one, 15 to 17-pound line. And usually on the spoon, I'm jerking it pretty aggressively, 3-4 foot strokes. Now, the ice fishing jig, you fish a little bit more like a drop shot. It's got a real funny fall to it. It goes side to side. It's got some good action. I don't usually work it as aggressively. A lot of times you only see 1 or 2 fish down there. Whenever you get one fish hooked, you'll see the bottom light up. Your graph will start worming like crazy. And some of the fish have been close to the bottom. It seems like out there on the gravel, they'll be anywhere from 35 to 50 foot deep, from the bottom up to about 10 foot. Now, I have been catching, and most of those have been, almost all Kentuckys with an occasional smallmouth and largemouth. It's been a lot of fun, a lot of keeper-sized fish. But the quality fish, I have been getting a few on the same baits, but fishing a little bit different structure. I'm fishing over deeper trees. The bottom depth, it may be, 70 feet to 100 foot, but I'm trying to key on the treetops to come up to about, 35 to 45 feet deep. Now, another bait that'll work in there as well, if you start catching them on the spoon in an ice fishing jig and it slows down, either pick up a drop shot or a little gets it, but something that's been working for me, this is a little mega bass bait, but I've got it rigged up on a 5-fish lures, 1/4 ounce ultimate Ned jig head. It's got the little wire guard so I can get through the trees and stuff pretty good. Most of the bait that the fish have been belching up only been about 1.5 inches, 2 inches long. I haven't found too many fish in the centers of the creeks, but I am getting them on the main lake and secondary points, as far as on the deep fish. Now, I talked about the shad earlier. A lot of times, if I see a big group of shad clear out in the middle of the lake, some of the bait has been clear out there in the middle of the channel. I'll stop and idle around, see how deep the bait is, and see if it looks like there's any fish, underneath the bait. And the shad has definitely been a key as far as on my Alabama rig as well. If I can find a day where the shad are up in that, say, 10 to 20 foot, they're up higher in the water column, and if they're up closer to the bank or over some submerged trees, I've been able to get some quality fish on an Alabama rig, and them fish have been 15 to 20 foot down, suspended in the trees. Now, the water temperature like it is, I didn't even mention that, or the lake level. But the lake level right now is 916 to come up about a foot from last week. And this afternoon when I went out, it was about 48 degrees. Now, I would think that there would be a good crankbait bite because, 48 degrees is not too bad as far as water temperature. I'm getting a few to slap at it, but I'm really struggling to get much of a shallow bite unless it's on the Alabama rig. And I have been throwing jerk baits quite a bit. I've been throwing a Spro mixed stick, a mega bass. I'm not having very much success on the jerk baits. That will come as more fish, man, them mega bass hooks are sharp. But the jerk bait bite should get better, if the water will ever cool down. We've had an unseasonably warm winter, which makes you think that the fish should be up shallow, but like I say, I have not found much of a shallow bite. I can find them a little higher up in the water column if the bait's up there, but for the most part, the shallow bite has been pretty tough for me. I've been flipping a few docks with a 5/16 and 7/16 ultimate finesse jig and a brown purple with a little Strike King Baby Rage Craw as a trailer. But I'm getting very few bites, and I've been fishing the docks, from about 8 feet out to about 20 feet. It's a real slow process. But the fish I'm catching there are either largemouths or smallmouths. The majority of my Kentuckys have been out there deep. Another guy that I forgot to mention that is also going to be there at Meet and Greet the Pros is my good friend Jason Seelock. I don't know if y'all watch or go to Facebook and look at Wired to Fish, but that's my kind of morning ritual. When I have my Mountain Dew, most people have their coffee, I'll sit down, go to Wired to Fish, see what's going on in the fishing industry. He's got all the updated news every day. They've got awesome fishing not fishing reports, but how-to techniques with different pro anglers on there. So if you haven't been to Wired to Fish, you need to check out that site. But Jason will also be there. Jason's also a very good fisherman as well. So we'll talk about Meet and Greet the Pros a little bit more next week, and hopefully the fishing will get a little bit better. But like I say, there's been catching a lot of numbers of fish on the Kentuckys, on the deep deal. The quality fish, the bites are few and far between. So till next week, good luck, good fishing.